Hello everyone, and now welcome to game number 1 in a series between Happy and Orc Worker. Over here on the bottom left hand side of the map we have Happy spawning as the red undead. Meanwhile on the top right we have Back to Warcraft's Worker spawning as the yellow orc. Orc versus Undead in this 1v1 matchup taken from the final rounds of the MooCup. There are other cups out there, but I think I'll probably hold off on casting them unless I ask, the other English casters if it's okay if I pull from those specific games. It may help or it may not help, but we'll see how things go along. Anyways, let's go ahead and slow things down just a bit as the Blade Master will be making its appearance alongside that Death Knight. The delayed Death Knight does mean we're going to be looking at Crypt Fiends after a Tool Ghoul opening. You can see the graveyard is positioned so that there's less walking time for those ghouls, as you normally need that lumber very quickly early on for that tech to tier 2. Now, the Blade Master has Windwalked, will sell that Scroll of Town Portal, pick up a Circlet of Nobility, and be going after this Ogre Magi here. Interesting positioning here, as the Ogre Magi is going to be taking a little bit of damage, and you can see that Grunt is purposely getting in a little bit of those back attacks there. Now, once the Grunt does get this, or Ogre Magi does get this finished down, picks up a Scroll of the Beast and will be heading away. Scroll of the Beast is not the item he was really looking for. Probably wanted the Potion of Greater Healing or that Potion of Invulnerability. Meanwhile, the Blade Master is now going to use the Secret Valley Health Fountain to really start clearing out these Null Wardens. Those Null Wardens can get taken out very quickly here, as they have relatively low hit points and they have normal armor, meaning they take full damage from the Grunts. Alright, Ring of Protection +2 has been dropped, picked up by that Blade Master. Meanwhile, the Death Knight clearing out this 5-3-3 creep camp with the help of a whole bunch of Wisps. And I like this very intensive macro by Happy. You can see how low the hit points on those skeletal minions are. They are now down to pretty much 1 right there, and the Crypt Fiends are finishing off those skeletal minions on purpose to not give that Blade Master extra experience. Now the Blade Master will be making a move down across here. Is it going to find some Grunts and some units to try and deal damage towards? Yes, going straight after that Death Knight there, as the Death Knight does back off. Claws of Attack +6 on the Death Knight as the Blade Master gets blocked up by that skeletal minion. We should be looking at teching the tier 2 on both sides here, and it's going to be interesting to see what the second hero of Orc Worker is going to be. The Shadow Hunter is the superior hero in terms of support, but the Tauren Chieftain does deal more damage, can lead the charge a bit better, and can stomp these Crypt Fiends. I believe they can stomp them out of the ground, right? I'm not actually 100% sure about that. I'll have to read up. I know Thunderclap does not reveal them, but Stomp might, as, oh wow, my, it sounds like my, dishwasher is absolutely leaking a whole bunch of water, which is not a good thing. I'll have to take a look at that in just a little bit. It is leaking into the sink. Alright, Blade Master going to be going after this Ogre Magi creep camp here. Meanwhile, Death Knight with the Crypt Fiends going after this Grunt. Worker is going to be in a bit of trouble in just a bit as he tries to get away. The Death Knight with that Death Coil and the movement speed off of the Unholy Aura going to be able to get a lot of damage here. Now Worker should be able to do a lot of damage on this map. Picks up a Slippers of Agility +3, has very high armor indeed, over 11 armor right now, as it looks as though the Death Knight may be able to finish off one Grunt there. That was a lot of time invested into taking down that one particular Grunt, and the Blade Master here is going to be just shy of level 3 after clearing out this orange creep camp. Now the Death Knight still wandering around in the center. We should be looking at, yes, Halls of the Dead nearing completion. Slaughterhouse should be added, as the Death Knight is still wandering around, as we are looking at a Shadow Hunter and now going for that Bestiary. Dust of Appearance is on that Death Knight right now. The Death Knight, Blade Master takes the kill, and I believe he took the item. Now going after one of those Crypt Fiends. Blade Master is in a great spot right now, as he's able to just do a lot of damage here. Will he end up overextending though? That is going to be the big question, as you see another Death Coil go down. Death Knight now pretty much out of any sort of mana for any more death claws, at least for a little while longer. We should be looking at a healing wave here. The Blade Master is revealed as we now see a quick hex go down on that Death Knight. Death Knight having a little bit of trouble. Is he going to be able to get away? The own unit getting sacrificed there. The Blade Master now doing a little bit of, well, a little bit more hexing again. Is the Blade Master going to actually deal any damage to the Death Knight? No, that hex was pretty much wasted in that situation. You want to maintain high mana as we have another healing salve go down on that Blade Master. Things are looking good for Worker. He is in a great spot, as we now see the War Mill now being added on here. We are also going into Fortress, which means fortified armor on those Orc burrows. We could also perhaps see the Tauren Chieftain actually round out the the trifecta for the Orc player, as a Blade Master picks up another Tome of Agility. Already up to 37 base damage, up to 59, significantly higher than where we would normally be at this stage, as he has picked up, I believe, one if not two Tomes of Agility. Shadowhunter quickly comes across a skeletal minion here. Is he going to be able to finish it off? There it goes. It does quickly get ensnared, going to get taken down, and now the Ogre Warrior is pretty much surrounded. You can see that the Ogre Magi Hex does last a significantly long time, as the Blade Master now heads back down to the south with that Orb of Lightning. It seems as though many more Orc players are going to tier 3 for that Orb of Lightning, and also for that fortified armor. That Orb of Lightning really helps out that Blade Master being able to attack the air, as the Death Knight now looks to finish off this Ogre Warrior here. Blade Master now heading back down to the south. It looks as though the Ghoul is going to get slowed up a bit. That Orb of Lightning does cast Purge, or can proc Purge, essentially rooting a unit for a small amount of time. Blade Master is going to try and join in on this here. You can see that there is already frost armor from that Lich, providing the necessary support, making sure it is not taken out quickly or easily. Meanwhile, the Shadow Hunter is going to be heading over here to the Fountain of Health, and the Blade Master should really be trying to take down this Red Drake. But first, it looks as though he's going to be going after the ground units. The Blade Master does have that Orb of Lightning. He will be able to attack the air. There it goes, going after that Red Drake now, and as it looks as though he is going to be able to finish it off, get right underneath it, and pick up that very powerful item. Circuit of Nobility now dropped. All right, what is he going to be picking up? Perhaps a Potion of Lesser Invulnerability now, as he's going to leave the Red Drake. I'm not quite sure what to make of this. Oh, trying to pull the Red Drake far enough away where it's not getting healed. That is not the case. That is not happening right now. The Shadow Hunter and the Red Drake are both getting healed. Meanwhile, the Blade Master off over here, you see Banshees being added. So the Banshees are going to be cursing that Blade Master, adding another layer of missing on top of the already slowed down attack. Blade Master going after that Banshee there. You can see the attack. There is a Death Coil saving it right now. Blade Master going to continue to go after that unit, and there is another Purge. It does get taken down. Windwalk Strike followed by a critical strike there, as the Blade Master is cursed and it can miss its attacks. Blade Master now trying to get away. Meanwhile, the Shadow Hunter is still looking to finish off this Red Drake. Kodo Beast finally shows up to the party. The Blade Master should perhaps get nearby. No, finally gets an ensnare off. Shadow Hunter will get to level 3. No, he got too close at the very end. Denies level 3, and that is a problem. You really need to get level 2 healing wave. Blade Master just got a little bit too close, as the Shadow Hunter now needs another 15 to 20 seconds to get to level 3. That is going to offset the upcoming fights here, but he does have a little bit of a lead, sitting on a level 3 and level 2 Lich from the Undead, as we now do see the Tauren Chieftain being added in as well. For anyone who is wondering how come, well, oh, Tome of Agility, of course no one wants to read it. Blade Master now heading back off to the north, going to finish off the Ogre Lord with the Ogre Magi's here. We should be getting an ensnare on that Ogre Lord, as the Ogre Lord may try and get away. Tauren Chieftain, I believe, went Stomp first, does have the War Drums bonus effect right now, as he does have a Medallion of Courage, +4 Strength and +4 Intelligence. Those Stomps should be able to slow up anything that the Death Knight and the Lich is going to try and get across. No Crypt Lord, excuse me, as sometimes, well, in the old school days, Undead players did like to get the Undead Crypt Lord as well as that third hero for that nuke. It did have that very powerful Impale. as the Shadow Hunter is sitting at level 3 and the Tauren Chieftain just shy of level 2. Alright, let's take a look back over here. What creep is left? Alright, 2 Forest Troll Berserkers. That's pretty easy to finish up. Not quite sure why he decided to back off, as the Tauren Chieftain is still shy from level 2. Pure Up of Vitality, a very strong item indeed, as the Shadow Hunter is the one to grab the Medallion of Courage. Alright, finishing off this Red Drake should not be an issue at all. Meanwhile, it looks as though Happy is sitting at 47 over 50. Does not have a boneyard, and does not even have a sacrificial pit. But never mind, there's a sacrificial pit. We should be looking for a shade, trying to keep track of where that Blade Master is. The Blade Master would then be revealed, as the Tauren Chieftain has a Robe of Magi himself, already up to 330 mana, and with either Shockwave or Stomp, a Tauren Chieftain with mana is definitely a scary proposition. High damage, being able to get up into the front, being able to throw down a Stomp and temporarily stun a good amount of units is always a big issue there. No Dust of Appearance. The Shade perhaps just trying to stay away from that Tauren Chieftain, as we're looking at clearing out a little bit more creep camps. Both sides really taking their time right now. Blade Master a little bit low on mana at this point. I would have expected him to use a Clarity Potion or picked up one by now, as the Tauren Chieftain, well, is he going to read a Tome of Agility? Alright, yes he does. Shadow Hunter still sitting at 3. Is that dual Robes of Magi on the Shadow Hunter and on that Tauren Chieftain? More healing waves. Oh, are you going to pick up a tome? He went to go back and read a book. Thank you very much. It sounds like Common Core is finally working, as kids are getting encouraged to read. Back across here, Death Knight. Lich still playing a little bit too safe right now. There's not very many creep camps, and it feels like Happy is just behind just because he hasn't ventured out far enough. He is a hero behind. We see a Great Hall has been placed down here, and now the Death Knight is going to go ahead and try and engage. Dark Ranger is in position. There is a Shade following up the rest of the army. Blade Master has Spirit Link, but that will easily get devoured, as the Blade Master is now, well, still wandering around. Alright, we're going to go after an engagement. There's an Ensnare. Are we going to go after some more units again? There is a Purge and the Crypt Fiend. Well, Crypt Fiend is right there, temporarily stunned. That Tauren Chieftain right in that front position. Potion of Invulnerability used pretty much instantaneously, as the Death Coil misses the Crypt Fiend. Not enough time for that Death Coil. Bouncing healing waves again. Potion of Healing transferred. Are we going to get a Stomp? Silence on the Tauren Chieftain, as the Tauren Chieftain was focused down heavily. Alright, Dust of Appearance. Blade Master now trying to finish off some more units. A Death Coil going off onto the Lich. Crypt Fiend, however, taken down again. No Dust of Appearance. No way of really revealing these units, as the Raiders are now ensnaring down the Obsidian Statue. Blade Master now down to 31 hit points. Down to 3. It gets taken down. And somehow Happy is able to win out on this fight. It looks as though Orc Worker was just in a weird position. He now Happy does have all of his heroes, but I'm standing corrected. There is just perhaps way too many units for the Undead army to try and fight back against. Yes, 2 heroes have been lost, but a 15 supply of heroes is not enough to deal with what seems to be about a 40 supply army currently chasing. Alright, let's take a look at this. Ensnare going down. Death Knight getting taken down. Shadow Hunter now sitting at level 4. And 2 very high durability heroes taken out. And this is one of those strange games where Worker lost both of his or 2 of his primary heroes first and still came up as the victor. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I think army size was ultimately the major difference there. Worker prolonging the deaths of his heroes while focusing down the units of Happy. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Hope you guys enjoyed it.